Good evening and welcome from St. Louis Park High School. Tonight it's the Section 6-4A quarterfinals between the St. Louis Park Orioles and the Minneapolis South Tigers. Orioles come into this game 18-8, and the Minneapolis South Tigers 8-15. St. Louis Park the 4 seed, the Tigers the 5th seed. I'm joined tonight by Tom Whitlock. Tom, pleasure to have you back with me.
Happy to be here, Bruce.
I know I do a lot of begging, but I'm glad you answered the call tonight.
Hey, this is sections.
That's right. Starting lineups alternately. Joey Erickson and Keyshawn Howard, the first two players announced for their respective teams. Now we have number 10, Jalen Blakely, 5'8", junior, averaging 11 points per game. And for the St. Louis Park Orioles, number 15, Jacob Houtz, is averaging 9 points a game. Another senior for the Orioles. Orioles with 4 seniors in their starting lineup. This is number 11, Fahmi Sharif, 5'8" senior. And for the Orioles, number 21, Anthony Odens. He's a 6'3" senior. Anthony's averaging close to 8 points per game. Senior center, number 12, Marcus Acha, a 6'1" senior, averaging 4.5 points per game. And for the Orioles, sophomore guard, number 33, Paris Johnson Jr. Paris, the leading scorer on the Orioles team, averaging 15.6 points per game. And senior forward, Josiah Lasso, 6'11" senior, averaging 7.8 points per game. And for the Orioles, it'll be Anthony Rayson, a 6'7" senior, averaging 14.8 points per game. The head coach, Joe Heiser of Minneapolis South, Dave Breitenbucher for the St. Louis Park Orioles. And it's always interesting because these two teams have not played each other, and they're playing more in the Minneapolis Conference, South is, and their record was not that great, but very athletic team, and you never know what's going to happen when you have a number 4 and a number 5 seed playing each other. St. Louis Park getting the home court advantage. And it was really close between the number 3 and 4 seeds in this conference. You had Armstrong and St. Louis Park, and that was a game that went into overtime. And I think had St. Louis Park beaten Armstrong in that game, St. Louis Park would have held the 3rd seed. So,
yeah, sometimes those games in December, they don't seem like they're important, but they mean something when sections comes around.
And what you get by being the number 4 seed is an opportunity, if you win, to play the number 1 seed, which is Hopkins. And we see Kenny Novak out here tonight watching this game. Sure, taking some notes as this game goes on.
Well, and I don't think St. Louis Park played Hopkins this year. So, that first 5 minutes of a game when they're kind of feeling each other out, it'll be interesting to see how South comes out today and how St. Louis Park, if they attack or if they're trying to take some time to kind of figure each other out. This is Hayden Zhang, state swimming champ.
That's great.
His older brother was a basketball player at Park.
Good round of applause.
Hayden, because I know his older brother, Hayden, he's been a swimming phenom at St. Louis Park since about 7th grade. He was winning state titles or competing at state as early as 7th grade.
I should have looked him up. I can't float. Maybe you could have given me some pointers.
Stay away from the water, Bruce.
I know. For a guy who loves fishing, it's not a good thing. Racing to jump it up against Erickson as we get ready to start the Section 6 AA quarterfinal, controlled by South. And the Tigers will have the ball to start first. This is Jalen Blakely. Blakely just standing up top of the key, sort of looking to see what kind of defense the Orioles are playing first before they start setting up their offense. driving in, but hard to get around Anthony Rayson that time. He held his ground.
He did hold his ground there. That was a nice. Oh,
Very short.
We got a little hand on that one, or a finger. I think this is probably one of those games that St. Louis Park feels like they should be able to win, or at least compete very well. And I think, you know, it'll be important for them to get a good start here and just jump right out on them.
Yeah, talking to Coach Breitenbucher before the game, he thought that St. Louis Park was, I didn't call it this, but maybe a little lethargic from his description a little bit in the beginning of the Kennedy game. And it made him a little bit nervous because he really wants his team to be peaking at this time of the season. So, but they did come on towards the end. Rayson turnarounder, not good. Blakely with the rebound. Both teams have not scored in their first 2 possessions down the floor. A lot of times you get into the section game and it's really, you just got to get that first basket and then things start loosening up a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I always like to have, some possessions where everybody gets to touch the ball and get a feel for the game.
Howard couldn't get it to go. Rayson was under too far. Or that was Rayson with the
Nice
basket.
adjustment by Odins.
Right, Odins was the one who was under too far, but got it to Rayson. So, yeah, and good job by Rayson to follow up on that play.
Yeah. Well, he's got some size advantage there, so he should be able to. They should keep looking for Rayson underneath there.
Well, really what set that up was Howard driving in and getting the ball deep in underneath the basket.
And I think that's important for St. Louis Park and Howard to continue to attack, and he does such a good job of creating opportunities for other people.
Boy, 3 chances for Paris Johnson Jr.
Tenacious.
His first one was not really a very good shot, but it came off the backboard right in his hands, and then he good persistence to get the third one to fall. There he gets a block.
Yeah, very nice defense. Just kept straight up and got his hands on it.
Loses the ball coming down. Blakely. He'll put up the 3 off the mark. South cold here in the early going, sorry.
Yeah. No, I was going to say good rebound by Odins there.
And the 3 by Houts. Well, that's what the Orioles need, is to get Jacob hot, because he's had some games where he's been very cold, but hitting his first shot here is big for St. Louis Park. And if they can get Jacob, hooked in on that 3-point range, that's going to really help the Orioles, especially when you have Rayson down low and Johnson who's able. But here's a look at Paris Johnson with the. See, he was off balance, but able to still follow it up and a third time.
He's just Orioles, stuffing his stats.
Right, and the Orioles really are going to have that size advantage inside. You've got Anthony Odins at 6'3", you've got Paris Johnson at 6'3", and you got Anthony Rayson at 6'7", where the tallest player on the court for Minneapolis South is Joey Erickson at 6'2", so.
Yeah, I think St. Louis Park just needs to continue to use that to their advantage. I mean, they're such a well-balanced team. I mean, they have they have some great 3-point shooters. Anthony Rayson's a huge presence in the middle. Howard can create and penetrate, and then Paris is just kind of high energy, and Odins works hard. So it's a really great blend of players, I think.
Good start for the St. Louis Park Orioles. They trap, and on the line was Blakely. Turnover again for South, and I believe that's their 4th turnover here so far, right in the early going. Keyshawn Howard. Rayson. Could just back this one in, and there he goes. A left-handed hook shot, just a little bit off the mark. Blakely penetrates in, saw Rayson, now Odins with the strip. Howard, Johnson, stops, shoots, and hits. Good job by Paris Johnson Jr. going to his left that time and able to get that shot to go.
Yeah, he kind of got the handoff from Howard. Howard almost set a pick on, as he did the handoff, set a pick on Paris's man, so it just set up a really nice jump shot.
South still looking for their first points of the game. 9-0 St. Louis Park in the early going here. Blakely takes it to the hoop strongly.
That was a nice attack by Blakely.
You see how he shielded the basketball as he came in too, so that ball couldn't be stolen from inside. Rayson got to the basket.
Yeah. Nice left-hand finish by Rayson.
And Rayson has a mismatch inside, and that's what they got to keep trying to go to Rayson for if they can. You'd have to think that South is going to start picking up some fouls to try and stop Rayson.
Yeah, or double team him, or.
Here comes Orioles back again. Howard.
That's one of the nice things that Coach Russell does for St. Louis Park is managing the defense, but they're opportunistic with their double teams. So it seems like they're playing man-to-man, but when they can double team somebody or trap someone, they can create turnovers like they did right there.
Yeah, another steal, this time Paris Johnson. Nice pass. Howard, and he finishes. South may need another timeout here. 15-2 run. And they're going to take their second timeout. Demetrius Say ready to check in for Minneapolis South, but you see Keyshawn Howard finishing on the fast break.
Good start by St. Louis Park. I think that's exactly what they wanted to establish right away, is just it's a game they feel like they should win, and to come out and get a jump on South and get to a big lead right away, I think is right where they want to be.
St. Louis Park has won 15 of their last 17 games, so what a great stretch and what a great year by the St. Louis Park Orioles.
Fantastic year. I think as I see some former St. Louis Park basketball players, I think Coach Brian Bucher was, talking to him before the season, he was really kind of quietly optimistic about this team. I think a lot of people felt, just because they had graduated so many seniors last year, that this team was going to be down. And I think he really felt optimistic about this team. And I think he's right. They had a great year.
But when you look at their losses and you see Park Center and Minnehaha Academy, some pretty good teams, Edina, Chaska. So those are really games that St. Louis Park was still able to compete in, but, were tough opponents.
Well, I think, if they get by this game, the experience against those teams will help them against the Hopkins. I mean, you're facing one of the top teams in the state, and Park Center, Minnehaha, and Edina are all of similar caliber. So hopefully that experience will help them.
Blakely, great pass inside.
Yeah, that was a great pass.
Acha able to finish, and it's now 15-4. Houts to the basket. Count it. And Houts will go to the line.
What a great finish by Houts to lay it high off the glass like that. Take the contact and still finish.
Starting to see towards the second half of the season where Jacob maybe not hitting those outside shots, starting to get some more inside part of his game going, and there he converts a three-point play, gives the Orioles an 18-4 lead.
I think that's so important for those three-point shooters, that it's easy just to kind of sit out on the perimeter and shoot threes, but teams are going to discover that and start to defend against that and over-defend you at the three-point line. So for him to know to attack the basket and find other ways to score is a great testament to kind of how he's grown as a basketball player.
We'll have to see in this game if South looks like they're taking quicker shots now, and maybe they just feel a little pressure being behind. Odens, and he hits the three.
What a nice play. He came from underneath, under a pick, and just a wide open three.
St. Louis Park off to a great start here, 21-4 lead. We mentioned the number 4 and 5 seeds at the push. Yep. Offensive foul called on Blakely.
Nice defense by Keyshawn, just a little frustration from Blakely to kind of try to find some space.
Johnson. Howard. A good rebound, Odins. There. Oh. Looked like Rayson was going to have that one, but it was stripped and off of Rayson.
It's a great ball movement. I think LaSalle came across and just tipped that kind of off his hands, but then off Rayson. But that was really nice ball movement by St. Louis Park. I mean, that was the shot they wanted, Rayson down low.
Well, House holding his position, goes down, no call. Probably a good no call there, though. Watch LaSalle.
It was a good thought.
Yeah, he just went around him. Tried to get around him, but you had Rayson there too. That was a little bit of a sandwich, an Oreo sandwich.
There you go. You're here all night, aren't you?
I am.
Oh, what a great penetration by Howard.
Yeah, Keyshawn with that speed. Had the big basket against Chaska to win the game. Off the mark is Blakely.
I think that's what you talked about earlier, is South just starting to take shots and fall out of their offense. Blakely just came down with no passes.
And again, you see the height advantage that Rayson has. So he had the defender there, but Rayson with a definite size advantage is able to just put that one up over the top.
Yeah.
Lasso and a block called on Houts. Only the first foul of the game for St. Louis Park comes at the 10-minute mark. We'll see Cole Ewald coming into the game.
Another great three-point shooter. He's had a great season, I think.
His best game coming at Benilde.
Yeah, it was a fun one. He was excited at that. I can't remember how many points he had. He had over 20 points, I think.
Right. I know he had at least 5 threes in that game, and they're just going down for him. That was a good pass. And now Blakely hits the three.
Yeah.
There's a steal. Blakely's going to put up another three, and he hits. 6 straight points. Orioles into the front court. Ewald up top. Johnson tipped by Rayson into the hands of the defender.
This is an important point for South. They've gotten a couple threes in a row. It's important for them to continue to work their offense. That shot by Blakely right there, I mean, that came from someone else penetrating and pulling his defender in, which gave him an open three-point shot.
Adam Bauer in the game for the Orioles. There's Blakely again. This one a little long, but Bauer didn't get the rebound. It went off of him right into the hands of number 23, Say. And Say will get to the free throw line.
And it just kind of ricocheted right to him.
I know Bauer doesn't let those go on the football field. I'm sure he wants that one back.
He's another guy who's had a great season, really contributed. I think back to that Benilde game where he was getting a lot of offensive rebounds and just doing a lot of dirty work for that team.
Yeah, where they put him in a lot of times is when Rayson gets in foul trouble or needs a break, and he comes in and he provides that little bit of height and just more of the grit. Big basket for the Orioles that time as breaking the streak that South had going on.
Yeah.
Paris Johnson Jr., that potential that he has to continue to grow and get better is going to be fun to watch over the next 2 years for the Orioles.
Yeah, I mean, as a sophomore, his energy level is really spectacular. And just, I mean,
he's got those long arms too.
Yeah, long arms. He gets a lot of offensive rebounds. Just kind of a high motor guy.
Orioles Orioles back into the front court after the basket by Lasso and Paris.
And you can see that he's got a shooter's mentality where he's always looking for an opportunity to score.
Foul on the drive.
Just a little bit of a reach in by Paris.
Sam Bradley, number 33, is in for Minneapolis South. Houts back in for the Orioles.
I think Howard's getting a little bit of a rest. Good defense by Odens just to stay straight up and not draw a foul there. The Orioles got a lot of three-point shooters in now.
Houts passes it up. Ewald looks for it, passes on it. Nice pass underneath. Bauer is fouled by Bradley.
That was a good find by Ewald.
It was a good hard pass too, right through the lane. Watch, I just found the open player. And a good job for Bauer to go to that basketball too. You don't want to wait for that because that would have been stolen away by Lasso. Racing back in the game for the Orioles. He gets the ball, spins. And I don't know, that was a foul called on Lasso. It didn't really look like he did much there.
Two quick ones, yeah. I thought he had a hand on the ball. But sometimes when they look like fouls, they call them even when they're not.
We can take a look at this again, see where he got him. Well, a little bit on the arm.
A little bit on the arm.
St. Louis Park with the lead. Blakely, I mean, he's hot.
Yeah, Blakely, they need to keep finding opportunities for him to score.
Blakely averages 11 and a half points per game. He's got 11 in this game. Grayson goes after the rebound, puts it up again and in.
Well, I think you see St. Louis Park size. I think I've seen about 6 or 7 offensive rebounds now for St. Louis Park.
Well, the three is starting to add up. Down to a 13-point lead for the Orioles. Houts, he tries to put up a three. Racing there. And Racing with the basket.
Such a soft touch by Racing. Yeah. Wilson was just trying to inch out on that pick a little bit. Blakely needed to come a little bit closer to him to scrape the pick. He put him in a bad position.
That was foul number 5 for South. Racing, that's a tough shot. Oh.
Going to your right with your left hand.
And Paris Johnson got up too high, maybe mistimed that jump just a little bit. There's another three, just off the mark, and the rebound by Racing.
You see they're trying to create their offense off of Blakely, setting kind of high picks for him.
Jacob Houts. Great first half by Houts. He's got 8. Odin's ready to check back into the game for the Orioles. Trap.
Here's that opportunistic trap.
And the Orioles are going to get the ball. No, they lose it. Erickson. Howard, tip. Last touch by Howard, so it'll be Tiger ball. Paris Johnson will get a seat on the bench. And the three is good.
Wow.
Greg Wilson. 6 3 or 5 threes in the game. Racing couldn't get it to go. Odins and last touch by the Tigers. There's racing. Outs, quick shot, not good, but the rebound by Rayson.
Another offensive rebound.
Outs, nice drive.
Oh, good finish. Quick timeout by Coach Bradenbucher.
Yeah, what a good, nice drive by Houts.
I think I mentioned it earlier, just the sort of the protection of the ball as he drove through there to kind of cradle it and then finally release it when he was close to the hoop.
There's the brackets, section 6-4A. So we have St. Louis Park playing South right now, and at the same time, Armstrong is playing Southwest, that game at Armstrong. And both teams will play Friday night at Osseo. The early game is would be Hopkins against the winner of this game. That game will be at 5 o'clock on Friday night, and the second game will be what looks like Armstrong against Wayzata, and that would be the 7 o'clock game on Friday night. Those games at Osseo. So if you want to get out and see some great basketball, and
hopefully our Orioles.
Lasso. That was a long hook shot. Outs. A little strong. Oden's nice rebound.
Oh, good finish by Oden. Just see how high up he was to get that rebound.
And Orioles dominating on the boards in this game. There's another three.
Oh, good. Oh, that was good.
It was good for a second, then all of a sudden, came in.
That was a nice block, but I'd like to see this again. That was a nice block by Rayson, but maybe he came down underneath them a little bit.
Tough, yeah.
Yeah. I think sometimes they call that if they kind of.
And you want to just keep that arm straight up in there. Sometimes you tend to reach forward a little bit.
Yeah.
0 for 3 from the line are the Tigers so far.
There, you jinxed him.
Put a kibosh to that.
Oh, I think Keyshawn thought Rayson was going to step out on that, and he ended up not.
Step back for a three is good by Bradley.
Yeah, Blakely keeps looking for him. Blakely kind of does the same thing that Howard does for us, is that just penetrating.
Well, that was a great pass. Howard just unable to convert. South trying to cut into that 14-point lead, and they cut it to 12. Outs. Couple shots at it.
Blakely kind of disturbed his first shot enough to throw him off, but it was a nice job of Houts with sticking with it.
12 in the first half for Jacob Houts. Ferris Johnson Jr. be coming back into the game here with about 3 minutes remaining in the first half.
Nice little give and go there.
Fifth foul, team foul for the Orioles. Houts picking up his second. See if Bradenbucher will take Houts out. I think looks like Ellingson will come into the game. Both the threes South is hanging in this game. They
Yeah.
trail by 12.
I was going to say for South, it's going to be important for them in this next 2.5 minutes to keep this game at a manageable level. And oppositely, I think St. Louis Park would like to stretch this out a little bit before halftime.
What a great move by Rayson. He didn't get it to go. If he would have followed,
I think he was surprised that it didn't go.
That was great footwork, and that's something that we've seen Rayson improve on over the years. That three is.
Is it Bob Euchre that said just a bit outside? Oh, what a nice move by Keyshawn. Just that he had that little slight hesitation there that created the opening for him to get all the way to the hoop.
Orioles have put 43 on the board so far in the first half. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before that St. Louis Park played Wayzata, and very even first half. And I think
last year,
right?
Oh, actually, last 2 years they did.
And then Wayzata just went crazy in the second half, hitting those threes.
Yeah, Beninga.
Yep.
Ooh. I think it's just a great opportunity for St. Louis Park to be able to play some of those big Lake Conference teams, and just let it all hang out.
Nice cut to the basket by Erickson, able to get the fingertip roll to go.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising that South is, just recently they've been getting to the basket, and there hasn't been anyone there to protect the rim for the Orioles.
Ewald probably could have just taken that himself, tried to dish it across. South with a chance to turn it into a 10-point game, but a great steal by Odens. It was a give and go. Howard Odens. Paris Johnson comes from nowhere. Tips that one in. What great athletic ability by Paris Johnson to get that one to go. Looked like he got a little too far under the basket, reached back, and was able to still tip that one in. 24 seconds, see if South goes for one. No, I think they'll take the best shot they can get here.
Yeah.
Nice move by Blakely. And the Orioles get called for a foul here with 5.7 seconds left to go. So that's going to send Blakely to the line shooting two.
Yeah, I think Blakely's looking back at his coach. I think his coach wanted him to run another couple seconds off before he took that shot.
13 points in the game for Blakely. Orioles will bring Houts in for three-point shooting ability.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Coach Brian Bucher is saying, just don't pick up a foul on a rebound here. You don't want to get your third foul. I brought you in for offensive purposes only. Pair of free throws. Howard into the front court. He's got time. Dishes off. Ewald for the three. It's good. Oh, what a good finish for the Orioles.
Exactly as they drew it up, right?
And that all starts with Howard being able to penetrate. Look was wide open. And a great job by Ewald.
Yeah, I think that's the recipe for St. Louis Park. Let Keyshawn go out there and create. That was a nice way to finish the half. Up 15 here at the half.
And the key there is you saw South really started getting into their offensive rhythm a little bit, but St. Louis Park was still able to not let them get on any long runs and able to still hit some key baskets to stop the streak a little bit.
Yeah, I think St. Louis Park always seemed to kind of have an answer. They would South would get it to within 10, 12 points, and then St. Louis Park would stretch it back out. I think Coach Brighton Bucher is probably not happy with defense kind of late in that half, that they were letting South get to the rim a little bit and hit those threes. So I think that's something he'll probably want to tighten up in the second half. But offensively, 48 points in the first half. That's a strong half.
Well, great scoring from your starters. You got Houts leading the team with 12 points. And then you got Rayson and Johnson Jr. with 10 points apiece. Keyshawn Howard with 8. Odens with 5. And Ewald with 3. So you really got that balance going there, and that's important, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the great thing about this team is that there is so much balance and so many guys that bring a little something different to the table, whether it's three-point shooting or penetration or just extra energy plays like Paris. You know, I think he had 4 rebounds on every point he had, and that just goes to show his kind of tenacity of just sticking with plays.
Yeah, and Blakely and Bradley, the big scorers for South in the first half. Blakely had 15 and Bradley with 8, so that's 23 of the 33 points by those 2 players.
I think that's something that the South coach, you could hear him in the first half there. He really wanted Blakely to kind of generate the offense or at least generate penetration where he could kick it out to Bradley for 3-point shots, and that seemed to be working.
Yeah, 6 threes in the first half for Minneapolis South, 2 for the St. Louis Park Orioles. Interesting stat, St. Louis Park did not go to the free throw line, or they did once. That was on the 3-point play by House.
Right.
But other than that, no free throws. And, you know, when you have that height advantage, you're able to work that ball inside. You know, South was unable to challenge and foul the St. Louis Park Orioles. I think that may change in the second half a little bit. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, if Park continues to hold this lead, South is going to have to start taking some chances.
All right, we're at halftime here from St. Louis Park, 48-33, St. Louis Park Orioles lead. This is the Section 6-4A quarterfinals.
If I say heads up, what does that mean to you? It means be aware, be alert. Be prepared to prevent something bad from happening, like a concussion. Most concussions are preventable if you make the effort. Wear a helmet when you bike, wear a seatbelt when you're in the car, and always be aware and be safe. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. You want to prevent a concussion? It's time to be heads up.
We're back. Bruce Holman along with Tom Whitlock. 15-point St. Louis Park Orioles lead as we get ready to start the second half. Winner of this game goes on to the semifinals, and that game will be Friday night at Osseo. Winner gets to play Hopkins, the number 1 seed. So that's the reward. That's the reward. You win, you play Hopkins. Kenny Novak, the coach of Hopkins, here in the stands tonight.
Well, I think it'll be important for St. Louis Park just to kind of keep on looking for racing, just like that. But don't give South any hope.
Right. For the Orioles this second half, they come out with Howard, Houts, Odens, Johnson Jr., and Rayson. Looks like Erickson, Blakely, Sharif, Acha, and Lasso for the Tigers.
There's that double team.
And there's a 3-point shot, high arching shot. Good rebound by Erickson. Blakely, he puts in another 3, his 4th of the game.
Well, I think South's got to be optimistic having Blakely back next year.
The St. Louis Park was up 25-4, so South has really cut that lead down a little bit, and it's right now a 14-point game. A nice shot by Acha.
There's a great rebound by Erickson to out-rebound Odens there.
Outs. That 3 didn't miss by much, just off the back of the iron.
South likes to run that high pick for Blakely to create off of.
See, the Orioles are really stacking up the inside, which is opening up some of these outside three-point shots. Blakely along the baseline. Erickson now around the perimeter. Driving down the lane is Lasso. Got it to go.
I thought that slipped out of his hand, but that was a nice finish.
Johnson loses the
good
basketball.
Hustle, good hustle by Lasso.
South with a chance to cut it to 10. Oh, just a missed shot by Erickson. It was a good opportunity there.
Yeah, and I think Keyshawn did a nice job of kind of flying in front of him. Good rebound by Paris.
Outs unable to get the three to go. There's an open three put up by Howard. He debated the first time whether he was going to take that or not, but then no one came out there, so then he took it and he hit it.
He's got a brace on his wrists. I don't know if you know anything about if he had an injury or if that's just kind of built up over the season.
Not sure on that one.
Doesn't seem to be affecting him.
Spin move by Rayson and the foul.
Really,
Rayson wanted a three-point opportunity that time.
Nice footwork by Rayson there, just to spin. Watch this.
He got in a good spot where he was just unable to finish it. So.
Well, I had a nice chance to catch up with some former Orioles over halftime. And Kyrie Mayfield, who played last year, is in the stands, and he plays for Bethany Lutheran College and had a wonderful freshman year. He was all UMAC, first team all UMAC as a freshman, averaged 20 points a game and scored over 500 points for the year. So that was a pretty good freshman year for a former Oriole.
53-38.
You see Ross is in for the first time for the Orioles. And I think defensively, I think they're going to try to put some more pressure on Blakely. You saw Ross kind of playing right up in Blakely's face to force him to try to drive or pass. It'll be interesting to see if the Orioles can force any turnovers off of that.
Johnson's going to get called for the foul. Or no, that was
Ross.
Ross, right.
That's nice having a guy come off the bench. He's got 5 fresh fouls to give, so no harm there.
First team foul of the second half for the St. Louis Park Orioles. Long pass. Blakely. That's why he puts in that three. Blakely's a good-looking ball player. He's a junior.
You see South starting to apply a little more pressure, trying to get some turnovers.
Johnson missed the shot. Blakely. Johnson with the rebound. 3-on-1 for the Orioles. Nice pass. Orioles couldn't convert, but Rayson does.
Nice job of Rayson to be there on the miss. And Ross, that's the turnover they were looking for.
Good hustle, though, by the Orioles.
It was a nice job by Ross to force that turnover. I'd like to see Ross try to finish that layup with his left hand there.
Point game, almost over and back. There's a foul on Odins along the baseline.
It'll be important now for South to hit their free throws.
Nice movement by the Orioles.
Oh, really good soft touch by Racing. But you're right, it was all set up by that good ball movement.
Back to a 16-point lead. Blakely gets the ball, working in the corner. Here's a three put up off the backboard. Orioles basketball. And South is saying that was tipped. And we'll see. They may change that call. If that ball was tipped, then the Tigers would get the ball back. And they will.
It was nice to see the referees have a conference. And
yeah, Paris got up pretty high on that one, was able to just deflect it. "13 minutes remaining. Winner of this game goes on to the semifinals. Floater is good.
that was a nice finish. I see Bradley is back in for South, so it'll be interesting to see if Blakely tries to find him for some threes.
Blakely with 23 points. That was good defense by Joey Erickson.
Racing just kind of turned right into him.
Deflected out of bounds. Tigers won't go away.
No, they just kind of keep hanging around.
They're clawing their way back into this game.
Now there's going to come a point where they're going to have to.
This is Blakely's shot, but short.
I think Racing got a piece of that.
Orioles not a good.
No,
try
Ross
that
just
time.
kind of committed to going, and then he didn't have any options.
Howard wanted a tie-up that time. It would have been Orioles' ball, but foul, and they're going to send Blakely to the free throw line.
Yeah, they're only 14 down.
Third foul for Howard.
I think Ewald's going to be coming in for him.
Blakely continues to add to the stat line, 24 points.
Ewald came in for Ross.
Good box out.
Oh, nice.
Pass. And a great finish by Ewald.
That was a great pass by penetration by Keyshawn, and then
Watch how far under Ewald was, and he had to almost put that one straight up, and he just had a did a great job to get that one to go. And Ewald with the free throw.
a nice three-point play.
Yeah, 6 points in the game for Ewald. Now Ross comes back in, replacing Howard, who has 3 fouls. Long pass for Blakely. Along the lane, hook shot doesn't go. Nice rebound. Putback was good. Hacha. Orioles can take their time a little bit. They try to force that one inside to Racing, and Blakely
Yeah, I think
got his
you're.
foot in the way.
I think you're right. I think if St. Louis Park sort of notices that they have a 14-point lead here with 11 and a half minutes to go. Not to slow it down, but to continue to move the ball around and be a little more intentional on offense. We'd like to see some 30-second possessions.
Almost a steal that time by Lasso. Paris Johnson with the finish.
I've been really impressed with Paris this year. He just does such a nice, soft shot. I mean, those little 5-8-foot floaters are not easy to make.
South continues to hang in there. Ewald has an open lane to the basket. Missed the shot.
That was a great drive by Ewald. Just wasn't able to finish.
Oh, that's a tough move by Joey Erickson not to charge. Worked his body around Rayson, and it's a 12-point game. Erickson doing a good job on Rayson inside right now. Paris Johnson hits the shot, and we're going to get a timeout.
I think that's a good timeout by Brighton Bucher. I think he wants to kind of remind the guys where they are in the game, and with a 14-point lead, they need to continue to play. I've been impressed with South. South has not gone away at all.
They haven't, and part of that is due to the great play by Jalen Blakely. But also, you look at that was just a great finish.
Yeah, as you said,
Joey.
Great body control. Because I think he looked up and he got a big face full of racing, and he adjusted really well to that and was able to finish.
One thing we're seeing that South is doing a better job of is really denying the pass inside to Rayson right now. And the Orioles unable to really get that pass inside to Rayson. And I think Joey Erickson has done a great job inside at 6'2" against 6'7" Rayson. So.
Yeah, I think they've had a lot of backside help. The Orioles have kind of moved it around the perimeter. They kind of reverse the ball, and then they try to get it inside to Rayson. And even if he's gotten his hands on it, I think last time he turned and there were two people around him, and they gave him no space to dribble. So it'll be interesting because the Orioles should recognize that if they're collapsing on Rayson, that means somebody's open, probably on the perimeter.
Well, on the floor for the Orioles now will be Ewald, Bauer, Johnson Jr., Odens, and Rayson. See if they set up a three-point opportunity for either Blakely or Bradley. Bradley's been quiet in the second half. He was had 8 points in the first half. Good job by Odens. Spin move, Paris Johnson, and he gets it to go. Right now, Johnson's showing to be very aggressive and wanting to get that basketball in his hands and put it up and in.
Yeah, he's got a great mentality of just attacking.
There's that three by Bradley, not good. Ewald, a couple moves on Blakely. Only 3 fouls by each team. And now we'll get a foul called on Blakely.
It's been a pretty clean game that way.
You know, Blakely now picks up his 3rd foul. That's a player that South cannot afford to get in foul trouble. So St. Louis Park may want to go after him a little bit. Drive in. Johnson, see how quick he releases that basketball.
and
it's a catch and release.
And he's got a very high vertical, so it's a difficult shot to block.
10 points in the first half and 8 points in the second for Paris. It could be on Rayson.
Yeah, I thought Paris came over and provided some nice help there. It looked like it was straight up. Here's his shot by Paris here. It's good, again, good ball reversal.
And the foul on Rayson, his second. Hot shot of the line. Bauer gets a round of applause as he leaves, replaced by Houts. Orioles back up now, built the lead back up to 18 points, 68-50. And we're going to get Greg Wilson into the game. So you got some three-point shooters out there. We saw Wilson could hit a three, Bradley can hit the three, and Blakely.
Yeah, I think it's going to be important here with 9 minutes to go for South. This is kind of their last chance to make a push here and try to get this game under 10.
That ball was deflected by Erickson, who's guarding Paris right now. Rayson all the way to the hoop. Basket is good. Is he going to get a charge?
Yeah, that's a charge. That was a nice job by Lasau to stand in there. I don't know how many guys have the internal fortitude to stand in there when Rayson's bearing down on them, but Anthony wasn't able to kind of.
Foul number 3 on Rayson. Ellingson getting ready to check in for the Orioles.
It was nice recognition actually by Rayson that, you know, they had him double teamed and then he kind of reverse pivoted and he had an open lane all the way to the hoop, so he rightfully went for it.
Long three comes off the iron into the hands of Rayson. Orioles into the front court. Not a great play that time. I think Ewald thought Paris was going to be going to the basket.
That Blakely wanted a continuation there, but that last possession by the Orioles, you know, with a 17-point lead, you'd like to see them, instead of trying to attack the basket right away, to kind of pull it out, be a little more intentional with their offense.
Well, Rayson will come out of the game with 3 fouls. We'll see how long he sits on the bench with 8 minutes remaining. The Orioles have a lot of players in for defensive purposes as Bradley hits a 3. We'll see where the scoring is going to come from with this group.
Yeah, I think it's important for St. Louis Park to kind of really extend out and try to defend those threes and make South drive.
Bauer is off balance. Well, you don't have Howard or Rayson in the game right now, so I think Houts will probably come in, give the Orioles maybe a little scoring boost.
Oh, nice steal by Ewald.
Good pass by Ewald. Bauer, and it was a great block. Orioles basketball.
Yeah, Lasau, it was a nice job by Lasau to not foul and tie Bauer up there.
I don't think Coach Breitenbucher agreed with that, though. Let's see here. Well,
just a touch, really.
Yeah, Rayson was not out too long. He's back in the game.
You see Lasau's trying to do everything he can to keep in front of Rayson.
Rayson, boy, couldn't do a better job defending him. South was right there on the defensive end of things, but Rayson with that height advantage able to get that left-handed hook shot to go. Look at
yeah, you can
3
see
guys.
They came and double teamed him. And
18 in the game for Rayson. He's 0 for 2 from the free throw line. See, I jinxed him.
Gotta remember that. Now he's out again.
Yeah, they're gonna
offense,
put him in. Yeah,
switch.
exactly. three. Bauer with the rebound.
Yeah, I think Bradley's been directed to. If he's got an open shot, take it. There's a nice steal by Blakely there.
Good pass. Erickson finishes. 71-56. Lead at 15. 6:20 remaining.
Oh, nice job by Odens to recognize the open.
Johnson a little strong on that, but Odens with the rebound. And South will take a timeout.
Nice job by Odens there to see Paris, but then collapse to the hoop and get the offensive rebound.
Sort of a frustrating game for South when you're behind and you're starting to get some threes and scoring, but St. Louis Park you can't stop them. They come up with those big baskets and keep that game extended to a 15, 16 point lead, and that's been sort of the key for St. Louis Park. They've been able to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think South just has never been able to go on enough of a run to I think to worry St. Louis Park. They're able to cut it to maybe 10, 12 points, but that's as close as they've been able to get. Now with 6 minutes to go, I think it's going to be important that for South, they're going to have to start taking some risks and playing kind of tighter defense, which is going to open up some opportunities for Park and see if they recognize maybe some backdoor cuts. Things like that, that'll get them easy baskets. We got a score update?
Yeah, Armstrong was 51-36 with 11 minutes to go over Southwest.
Okay. Well, it's an interesting section again, I think. If St. Louis Park or Armstrong can put any pressure on those Big Lake Conference teams, it'd be fun to see. I know Hopkins probably feels like they have unfinished business with Wayzata after Wayzata knocked them out of the section final last year.
Again, you don't want to overlook who you got to play. You just never know. That's what makes like the NCAA tournament so much fun, is that even though you have a number 10 versus a 1 or whatever, you still, once in a while, you get that upset.
All right, looks like the starters are coming back in for Park. I think that's just it. I think, I think as a high school player, you relish the opportunity to play a top 5 team like Hopkins.
Right. Coach Brian Bucher was, he said, I don't want to look past this game, but I think it'll be really fun to play Hopkins and see what we can do.
Well, they have such a nice blend of players. I know I've said that before, but I just think they have a lot to work with.
Right now, South, if they're going to get back in this game, they're going to start hitting their free throws.
And I think for St. Louis Park, looking forward to Hopkins a little bit. They're going to need to continue to score, because Hopkins is one of those teams that they're going to get their points. It's hard to shut teams like that down. So it's just going to be important for St. Louis Park to continue to score, and I think that starts with Keyshawn Howard and his ability to penetrate and create for other players.
Nice.
Really nice jumper by Houts.
Yeah, and the Orioles had a little bit of a rotation going here. They do a little bit of a weave, and Houts.
And Houts is kind of, today he's been showing off his game kind of inside the three-point arc. He's had some nice drives to the hoop and some nice kind of mid-range shots like that. And a lot of, difficult kind of off-the-dribble jump shots. So I've been impressed with Houts tonight.
Again, there's the bracket. Winners play on Friday.
Well, hopefully we can get a big St. Louis Park crowd out there. I mean, They're on the Orioles court, so it's almost like a home court advantage for St. Louis Park.
I don't think that date is right, though. The 13th. 8th and 13th, that would bring it to...
Like a Thursday?
Oh, it is,
The
okay.
8th is Friday, 13th is a Wednesday.
That's right, that's the final, yep. Another 3 by Blakely. Ferris, and we'll get a block.
Yeah, I think Lasso just
Uh-oh, that's something you don't like to see.
Lasso just kind of slowly moved with him. Oh, he sort of fell hard on his shoulder, it looked like a little bit.
As a head coach, you're not happy to see that. You're just like, we need him to be healthy for the next game.
It looks like he'll be all right.
House gets to shoot the free throws. Another 3.
Oh.
Oh, just in and out.
He's really had a nice game.
Fun player to watch.
I think Bradley, I think, is an underclassman as well. So I think they have some nice players coming back.
Odens. You see the Orioles taking time off of the clock. They're if they get a good high percentage shot, they'll take it. Otherwise, they'll just continue to run the clock. Well, that's a high percentage one.
Yeah, nice finish by House.
15 in the game for Jacob. Good pass by Blakely. Erickson doesn't get it to go. Deflected inside. Good hustle by the Tigers. Lasso with a 3. Bauer with the rebound. Puts it in the hands of Howard. Under 4 minutes.
Oh, nice pass by Howard. Just good, great vision.
Yeah, and Ellingson with his first basket of the game.
Oh,
Yep.
Nice, nice block by Keyshawn. He knew that 3 was coming.
Orioles back up by 22. Not a good pass that time. Erickson, Howard, sneaky from behind, deflects it out of bounds.
Good hustle.
Ross checks in, replacing Ellingson. And I've seen the last of Rayson and well, Paris Johnson back in the game. That's good to see. Went down hard. And I think we'll see him out of the game pretty quickly too.
Yeah, I think coach probably just wanted to get him.
Oh, look at Paris.
Yeah, he looks like he's moving okay.
And Houts with the finish. Jacob Houts having a great game. And South will take a timeout. I think Paris was looking for a possibility if he could have gotten in there. He likes to dunk the basketball.
He's had some spectacular dunks.
Yeah, and I think he was hoping that that may have been an opportunity. He knows his time's limited with a 24-point lead. I can't imagine that he'll come back out here.
No, I think a little rest before Hopkins is a good thing. It's going to come up quick for him. You know, I think this is kind of exactly how Coach Brighton Bucher would have liked to have seen this game go. You know, they just jumped out to a nice. It seemed like they were up like 17-2 right away, and then they just sort of maintained that lead the rest of the way.
You want to wish our seniors the best of luck as we've got. They're playing their last home game here at St. Louis Park. So that's Keyshawn Howard, Adam Bauer, Jacob Houts, Anthony Odens, and Anthony Rayson. Great careers and great job. They are keeping some of the starters still in the game.
Yeah, it's a great group of seniors that, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, started playing Oriole basketball when they were in 3rd, 4th grade. Watching basketball games here before they were able to actually play here. So it's a long journey to get all the way to this point. They put a lot of time and effort into their games. So we wish them all the best of luck and a lot of luck on Friday.
Oh, good rebound.
Oh,
what
nice
a block by Odens. Howard brings it in the front court. Well, maybe the reason Brighton Bucher still has the starters in is just ball control offense, just to take time off of the clock. He would love nothing more to be in this position against Hopkins. There's a drive. There it is. Paris Johnson with the exclamation point. And now the Orioles will empty the bench.
You called that one.
Orioles with the rebound. 20 points for Paris. And he just gets the second one.
Make that 22. Nice pass by Ewald there.
You know, we used to, back in the day when we had Jim Peterson and Dave Hennessy, we had the high school radio station. We used to cover the games for KDXL radio. And I started a show called the Slam Dunk Show. And we had Hennessy and Peterson were the co-hosts along with me. And Hennessy and Peterson would be like, Bruce, we promise you, we're going to get a dunk in the next game. And I'd be announcing the game on the radio, and it's Peterson with the dunk. And he said he'd do it, and he did. And then Hennessy would come in and get his dunk, and we'd give it a little, you know, lick of the finger, and we did it. They were had a lot of fun with that show back in the day.
There's been a lot of great players at St. Louis Park over the years. Certainly those years there was.
Oh yeah, with Johnny Anderson and you know, a lot of those teams. St. Louis Park subs are in the game.
It's good experience for some of these younger guys.
Yeah, with all the
next
seniors,
year.
right? With all the seniors they have, they're going to need these guys to come in and help out quite a bit. Ross loses the basketball.
This is always a fun part of the game where you got guys who are using the clock, but you can hear the parents in the stands yelling, shoot it, shoot it.
Right. Well, here comes some more. Let's get them all in the game, get a chance to play in a section game for the Orioles. Sam Ruff, Lions out there. Home.
Nice shot.
Greg Wilson. His second three of the game. We're down under 20 seconds.
Yeah, he's actually had a nice game. I'd like to see him on the floor a little more.
Nice try to the basket, but a little size advantage for Lions. Fans wanted a shot there at the end, but Orioles not wanting to run up the score anymore.
Nice game by the Orioles. And really well balanced, I thought. A lot of contributions from everybody in that lineup.
You know, it's so important to win the games that you're supposed to win, and really that's what St. Louis Park did all season, is they were able to win the games they needed to win. And I think one of the only ones, two of them you look back at and you say Apple Valley, they probably had a chance to win that game and didn't pull that one off. And then Chanhassen, which losing that game cost them a share of the title for the Metro West Conference. But what a great job Coach Breitenbucher has done with this team, and what a great job that the players have done this season. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the great. I mean, I think if the season were to end today, I think they could look back and go, that was a solid season that we can all be proud of. So they can feel like they checked that box, and now they have nothing to lose when they play Hopkins. Just go out there and play your game and give it a shot.
We're going to have Coach Breitenbucher is going to grab a headset.
Excellent.
And get his reaction on the game, the season, and what's upcoming for the St. Louis Park Orioles as they face Hopkins. So just hang on, and we'll have him. But a great game by the St. Louis Park Orioles. Paris Johnson with 20 points.
It was a nice second half by Paris, I thought. He was just really consistent.
You know, Racing with 20. You had Houts had a really nice game. 15 points for Houts. You had 11 points for Keyshawn. So
I think the nice thing also, I mean, Keyshawn, maybe he didn't score 20 points, but he does so much for this team as far as just controlling the ball, but also setting up his teammates with shots. So he kind of makes this whole team better, I think. And then those other guys like Odens and Ellingson and Bauer, you know, all those guys work so hard and do a nice job of getting rebounds and just doing all those little things that good teams do.
So now you go from Jalen Blakely to guys like Zeke Najee and Kerwin Walton. You know, those are some pretty good players that you're going to be taking on here in the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really just the great thing about high school athletics is, you know, they're going to be able to play against players that, you know, you might be watching on ESPN next year this time. So it's a great opportunity for these guys to. Now I got to give it up to Coach Breitenbucher here.
We'll get Coach Dave Breitenbucher on the line here. Dave, you know, it's been doing this for many years, and we don't get a chance to talk to you after a lot of games. But this is a season to remember, and I think you know, indicative of how they played in this game. Your team had the lead, took off, got to an early start, and we saw that. You know, Minneapolis South came back a couple times, but your team was resilient. They kept coming up with the key baskets and not letting South get back into that game. Yep. What a great performance.
Thank you. It is kind of indicative of what we've done all year. I mean, there's so many games where we've jumped up on teams. We have the tendency to relax a little bit. They get back into it, but then we do find a way. So I wish we'd be a little more consistent, but, you know, overall, I'm pretty happy with tonight.
And you've told me throughout the season how hard this team works and how great of a group of guys they are. Maybe you can just elaborate a little bit on that. So.
Most coachable kids that I've had. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It took until about January. Edina beat us pretty bad. I think they won by about 30 points. And for whatever happened after that game, the guys came together, and you know, I just felt like there was a camaraderie and a togetherness that, you know, there's just no selfishness. I mean, if Rayson's got 10 points, they're going to try to get him 20. I mean, nobody's trying to go out and do too much, and I just think that takes us a long ways.
Tom and I talked a little bit about how, you know, you won a lot of the games that you needed to win. So you came up and you won 17 out of your last 19 games. That's a great run, and you started off the schedule as with a really tough schedule, and you look at a lot of the games that you did lose were to really some tough teams, and maybe there were a couple that you wish you could have had back. Chanhassen and Apple Valley, to name a few. But those are learning experiences, and as you get to and you go from a player like Blakely who had an amazing game today, and now you're going to have Zeke Najee and Kerwin Walton and players like that. How when you look at after this game and you now go face Hopkins, what is your mindset, and what do you tell your players, and what are you looking at for the Hopkins game coming up?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love what you said, though, because it's just so true. Had it not happened the way it did at the beginning of the season, I don't know if we'd be where we are at right now with our 17 out of 19 wins. So, yeah, I'm really happy that, and you're right, the tough schedule. But Hopkins is a different beast. I mean, I've been trying to not look at their tapes yet because I had to focus on tonight, and I was telling the guys we can't look ahead. But now, yeah, we'll look at film on them. I've seen him a couple times this year. Zeke is one of the best players in the state. I mean, he is just, it's going to be tough to stop him. He can play inside, he can play outside. I think Hopkins goes to him a lot when they're looking for buckets. So he's going to be a handful. But, the way we're playing defense and the way we played Chaska this year, there's no reason that we can't be there, right? Be with Hopkins and hopefully sneak one out. So, but yeah, they got shooters, and then they got the inside play. So they're just ultra tough.
Right. Well, again, I want to congratulate you on a great season. We want to wish you the best of luck here in the next game, and hopefully the next two games would be ideal. But thanks again, Dave.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, so the St. Louis Park Orioles advance to the semifinals of 6-4A. Final score here tonight, the St. Louis Park Orioles 87, Minneapolis South 63. Tom, I want to thank you again for filling in. I don't know what your schedule is for Friday night.
I'm actually out of town. So
Again.
know,
oh, my goodness.
It's terrible. This empty nester stuff is just.
You got kids out of town, so you got to go visit, too.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just so happy for this team and for Coach Brian Bucher that, that's what you want. You want to be able to face, one of the top teams in the state. It's interesting to kind of listen to him talk about his mindset and his respect for Hopkins, but also his confidence in his own team to say, hey, we can be as good as they are. We can be right there with them.
And Tom, this is as my 40th year here for Parktv, and
you're way too young for it to be 40 years.
42nd year if I count the 2 years at KDXL.
You started when you were 5?
I wish, but this is a memorable season for me. Just how hard these guys worked, and as Coach Brian Bucher said, just a great group of kids, and really a great coaching job that Brian Bucher has done. You still have to put the talent together, and having Paris Johnson come out of the woodwork and play the way he has this season as a sophomore, was fun to see, and Anthony Rayson and Odins and Houts, all those guys, and Howard have really come on as the season goes on, and again, we want to hope those guys can at least have a respectable game, if not pull out an upset against Hopkins and see the crowd rush the floor.
That would be wonderful to see, and I think it is a tribute to Coach Brian Bucher and his ability to coach guys up. Paris really wasn't on a lot of people's radar, and he came in and he really impressed this year. And along with all the other guys as well, but it also goes to their individual effort, and I know all these guys work in the off season and put a lot of time and effort into their basketball game, and it shows and it's paid off. This has really been a fantastic year for those guys.
So the Orioles 19 wins. Love to see them get to 20. Be a tough road to
wonderful.
That's right. Tom, you've been great. Just want to make sure next year you open your schedule up for Tuesdays and Fridays.
I'll be better next year.
All right. On behalf of Tom Whitlock, I'm Bruce Over. I want to thank the whole crew that's provided the game for you tonight and throughout the season. We'll be back Friday night as the St. Louis Park Orioles take on the Hopkins Royals at Osseo Senior High. If you get a chance, I would love to see you out at the game, too. Good night.